Hello and welcome back for Game 3, where Counter Logic Gaming will face off against 100 Thieves. My name is Julian Page-Shamkar, and my dad always said, pick that Sam Kobe Hartman-Kenza is your co-caster, which admittedly made less sense when I was 7 years old and living in Australia.
Smart man.
Certainly so. Let's take a look at the starting rosters. Selecting blue side for this game is Counter Logic Gaming. In the top lane, Darshan. In the jungle, Rainova. In mid, Huhi. Bot Stixay, support Biofrost, and their coach, Zix.
And facing them on the red side will be 100 Thieves. In the top lane, it's Someday. Jungle, Meteos. Mid, Ryu. Bottom, Cody Sun. Support, Afromu. And Coach Prawley on stage, ready to take his second try at the drafting.
Well, we'll see what he can do. Today, Counter Logic Gaming's top laner Darshan plays his 400th game in the LCS, becoming the first pro to do so in North America.
Yep, Mr. President there. It's a very big milestone here for the veteran. It really just shows how long he has been playing, because a lot of the names that come up when people think about that are like Sneaky and Afromu and those guys, but Darshan has been here since the beginning. And hopefully it is going to be a win in the face of CLG's loss yesterday, where they would like to come back here and even out their weekend. Everything, though, did kind of fall apart yesterday after that mid-game team fight, and they were never really able to get back into the game. It kind of feels similar for some fans, similar to last split that when we were watching Counter Logic Gaming, where they would have a lot of really good early games, but then the shot calling around the mid game would get very hectic, and they would kind of lose direction and not have a great plan for ending the game and finishing out that execution. We'll see if they can clean that up today.
We'll see what they break out against 100 Thieves, who also kind of showed some execution misfires in the game against Team Liquid.
That's right. Both of these teams are coming off losses yesterday. And for 100 Thieves, you know, they ran some of the most flexible champions. They actually themselves banned out 2 marksmen, Ezreal and Lucian, which are the most picked. And then they picked up Vladimir, they picked up Aurelia, they picked up Renekton, and they started swapping these around through the different solo lanes. And it seemed like they ended up, you know, when Cody Sun took Vladimir in the bottom lane, like it wasn't the ideal you know, champion for him, or he hadn't put quite enough time in on it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see 100 Thieves in this champion select focus on actually getting a marksman for Cody Sun, because as we know yesterday, you know, the level 1 death on Vladimir kind of set off the game on the wrong foot.
Yep, certainly tough stuff. And again, teams are really just struggling to adjust across the board. We've had wildly fast games today, so I think more than anything, teams are going to have to find themselves and just kind of set the pace and maybe push it back a little, because if they continue at this rate, I mean, teams are going to look back in this week and be like, I don't even know what to work on, because the game's just ended so quick.
Yeah,
so fast.
Something we're definitely seeing is, since people are trying to be so flexible with their strategies and they're moving the champions around all the different lanes, and people are ending up with champions that they don't have thousands of games on like they're used to, especially for the AD carry role. We're seeing, especially if you get an early lead versus someone who's on a non-comfortable champion for them, they don't have the same fallback patterns, and they aren't you know, quite as secure in trying to come back in the game. Plus, there are so many different things that have been added to the game recently that just help with snowballing and help the winning team with closing it out.
Well, certainly seen that be an effect. We'll see if kind of these two teams who are a little bit slower at 100 Thieves, especially at the end of last season, were known for the pacing which they played out the games. But I think the tough thing is that every team is struggling to find an identity, and for these guys, it's hard to pin exactly where you should be putting your resources when you can do so much. I mean, 100 Thieves have 5 good players, but which one do you designate as you are the carry player? Because in some ways, they all feel very flexible, and I think for teams like these two, it's kind of causing some problems.
Yeah, that's the thing with 100 Thieves, right? They have so many good players, and they have a lot of veterans that should have a lot of, you know, ideas of how to play out this game. It's just about kind of focusing that, and especially therefore probably setting them into the game, especially with what to do for the objectives for the early game.
I think for CLG, it kind of feels a little similar as well. I mean, Stixay, known to play a lot more late game carries, but that was kind of in the crit marksman era, which of course right now isn't in a super strong spot. He did play Ezreal in his last game, so he's sticking with, I think, more comfort, and a pick that's certainly been very powerful, even all the way back to MSI, which we saw running rampant in that tournament.
Yeah, so many people keep on bringing up, you know, CLG's run at MSI and Stixay there.
Oh, no, that's
Caitlyn.
the last MSI this
year. Yeah. His Caitlyn, you know, at that MSI where they were able to get to the finals was so big, but she is very, very far, you know, removed from the current state of the game right now because of all the nerfs to crit items, because she has that big power trough in the mid game. That's why we're seeing the rise of those 380 carries we mentioned: Lucian, Kai'Sa, and Ezreal, the 3 premier ones right now. So if they do want to have the more standard-ish bottom lane with one of those marksmen, those would be the focus early on in draft. And so far, we do have them all available here.
We'll see if there are any bans thrown there as well, because that pool's pretty small. So if you start to pinch it with bans, you could lose them. Right now, though, Brand, Darius, Aurelia, and Talia are the first 4 bans in this game.
Yeah, it looks like they definitely are changing up the game plan here, especially as far as the bans are coming out. Everybody will be very well acquainted with Jungle Talia right now as well, so that is definitely a targeted Reignover ban, but Reignover is one of the guys that we should be highlighting here for Counter Logic Gaming, because last time around, he did have another very good opening, and we're looking for some good, play from him as far as the early game, because that's what so much the current state is about right now, and he is a huge part of directing CLG during that time.
Yep, a few more power picks banned out. Yasuo and Zoe on either side, and a very quick first pick Ezreal for CLG, so Sticks there going to go back to that same marksman.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were expecting, and the focus on those 3. So we'll see if 100 Thieves are going to do similar things here and try and get themselves a standard marksman in the first 3 picks. Looks like they already have the hover here.
Ooh. Switching it up just a bit. We'll see what they end up locking in. Only 1 second left, though, and it will be Lulu as the pick there for 100 Thieves.
So we had a little game the other day with some of the other analysts talking about what would be your favorite blind picks right now, because everything is so flexible. And Lulu, to me, is definitely one of the highest priority, because not only can you flex her around to multiple lanes and multiple positions, but she also is a semi-blocker to a lot of lanes right now. Like a lot of the pros I talk to do not want to pick Vladimir into the Lulu and things like that. So I really do like the early Lulu pick, and then they also do follow it up with the Lucian, who, especially with a lot of the changes to Essence Reaver and the buff to Blade of the Ruin King, the items that he's going to want to build, got a lot more power.
Yep, so Lucian kind of the smart next pick. I like the Braum takeaway as well, so preventing Braum Lucian as being a lane, and then Ornn, also another pretty flexible champion, and one Darshan has already played. Yeah,
we have actually seen AD carry Ornn, we have seen top lane Ornn, we have some support Ornn. Haven't quite seen jungle Ornn yet, but holding out a little bit. Braum and Ornn, though, it brings so much crowd control if you're looking at the overall team competition and the 5-on-5, and that should be a lot of zoning for the Ezreal to work around. It's something that you can utilize very effectively, especially in jungle corridors.
Well, there's Rakan as the last pick, presumably the support pick up there for Aphromoo, but I mean, these first 6 picks still have some flexibility in them, so we'll see what the teams are maybe thinking with their next phase of bans, as 100 Thieves will start it off with Aurelion Sol once again taken away from Huhi.
Yeah, we have seen supports put a very, very high priority on the Rakan because of the engage potential and how so many of the bottom lanes right now are really volatile, and they're looking for those kills. So Aphromoo on a hard engage champion. This is one of the champions where he had highlight reels from just last split. And with a Lulu on the team as well, presumably going to go to Ryu from the mid lane, they're going to have a lot of support for Cody Sun this time around. So doing everything to make him feel much more comfortable than, day 1, what we saw on the Vladimir.
Feels a bit more like kind of the end of spring strategy we saw from the finalists. Graves, the next ban away from Reignover. CLG did ban Xin Zhao away from Meteos, one of the premier aggressive junglers currently existing, and Trundle, another very strong jungler, taken away. So Meteos will lose some options here.
As everyone's always kind of switching focus over here to banning out junglers, we do still have to keep in mind, though, that the Lucian isn't 100% Cody Sun, because that is also a pick that you can flex to solo lanes, just to keep in the back of your mind if you're trying to follow along and do your home draft.
Yep, I can only give you the most commonly possibly played position right now. I cannot give you anything nearly as definitive as times past. There's Singe, though, picked up for presumably the top lane. And things kind of starting to come together for 100 Thieves as...
So as soon as, traditionally, whenever we see early Ornns and then the counter pick of Singe coming through, a lot of teams will then flex the Ornn around because the Singe is so good into Ornn. It mostly comes into effect a bit later in the game, though. You can split push really well against him. You can use the W, the Mega Adhesive, to stop Ornn from reactivating the ultimate. So there are a lot of pseudo counters in there where you can deny a lot of the things that Ornn is trying to do. And it looks like with the last pick here, another Burst Mage coming in from CLG. We've seen Syndra fairly often here, and actually has been looking quite good with being able to burst out a lot of squishier targets that are flying around the Rift these days.
It's kind of a weird thing to think about given how many bruisers and tanks have been in all sorts of lanes, but certainly is a strong pick, and we'll see what 100 Thieves finish off with.
I specifically also always really like it against Rakan if the Syndra player is quick. Because Rakan, if you can ever lock him down, hit him with a stun, or deny his engage, just for a split second, you can definitely burst him down quickly. You know, if Rakan gets burst down quickly before he's able to get off those multi-charms and have that very quick initiation, then he loses pretty much everything that he's going to bring to a team fight. But it is very scary for the Syndra because, again, the Rakan, especially with Flash Up, has the incredibly long engage range. If you don't see it coming, that can definitely go the other way as well and just burst down the Syndra.
Yeah, Meteos as well. Also finishes off with Camille, a jungler that's been picking up quite a lot of steam in recent weeks. So, you know, a lot of junglers were touched in the bans here. CLG were trying to keep options away from him, but still finds one, and especially with Lulu. Everyone knows Initiation plus Lulu is always a good time.
Yeah, so Camille is definitely one of the favorite junglers right now on this patch across the entire world. One of the most picked junglers, specifically because she is really enabled by the Scuttle Crab. You know, the changes to Scuttle Crab, a lot more gold, a lot more health in there that you can get out of it, or getting a lot of mana back, but it really just shores up some of the weaknesses where Camille could not fall back on farming the jungle. The jungle's not about farming anymore, so it's kind of the perfect area for her to run free and go for a lot of ganks.
Yeah, expecting quite a lot of aggression, but we'll see how the game shakes out. I would say a bit more traditional as far as these two comps go, but I think that's somewhat to expectation.
Yeah, that's what we were kind of expecting for these two teams after the losses yesterday. So let's see how they can execute. Marksmen are back on the field.
There we go.
They've actually been, you know, pretty prolific throughout this patch, but shit, yeah.
Worst kept secret in League of Legends. Marksman's still good, guys. The CLG are going to move out onto Summoner's Rift for the second time this weekend.
Yeah, it's funny, actually, because I was talking to four technically, 80 carries yesterday in the lounge stream. We had Double Lift, we had Cutie Pie, Sneaky came over, Aframu technically used to be one, but Double Lift was saying that he had actually changed his mind and he does not like Lucian anymore in the current state of the game because he didn't like, you know, the new Essence Reaver. And thought he was a bit harder to utilize him nowadays. But this is actually the first Lucian for summer for North America that we will get to see in action. And again, this is a Lucian that has a mid Lulu that will be looking to assist him. And that's when you really get to see those highlight plays where it accentuates the skill dodging of the champion, lots of mobility, and we'll see Cody Sun going for some big outplays.
Well, you can see 100 Thieves have stacked 3 here, just sitting in CLG's roadside jungle. Not sure if anyone's going to go down and check. This looks like perhaps a counter invade is spotted by a nice ward from 100 Thieves, but maybe starting vertically here for this one.
All right. A lot of people starting on opposite sides. Reignover, it looks like he won't get harassed here as the Olaf, even though they did walk over the ward. And yeah, as you're saying, both teams will be okay with trading their red quadrants of the jungle because both of them do have pretty much full information here. This is a Braum inside the tri-bush, but Meteos is following the duo because of that.
Yep, really nice stuff. They already spot the ward. Now Afro actually going to grab the double knockup, so Cody peppers some shots in onto Stixxay. Really nice read by 100 Thieves there, seeing that water, knowing that, you know what, just take one extra person for a few extra seconds of safety.
Yep, having Meteos trail them through their exit of the jungle does allow 100 Thieves, Cody Sun and Aframu there to get a lot of damage onto Stixxay and get some control in the lane super early on, but it also meant that Meteos is only stealing away the red buff, so he doesn't steal away any extra camps, whereas Olaf is a great power clearing champion. Reignover is almost finished up with all 3 camps in the red quadrant. Now his last objective is to get out alive because Camille is coming for him.
Alive through the top lane though, actually going to try the gank in onto Someday Dashon, already looking to slow him up, but can't quite grab the knockup. Axe hits. But Meteos is there, and I think CLG think they're better of it.
Yep, and Meteos is going to be able to take both Scuttle Crabs because of this. Again, Camille, she definitely focuses very hard on these Scuttle Crabs because she doesn't farm normal camps that well, especially early in the game. And those Scuttle Crabs just don't fight back, which is one of the best parts. Let's see if he can actually find Reignover here low health. They're not going to be able to finish up with that invade as Reignover exits the blue quadrant, but that does mean Meteos should be able to farm that area up.
Yeah, potentially full control of 3 camps there on CLG's side of the map, so not bad at all. Meteos again reading kind of these early situations very nicely. Bot side, we did see some harass happening, and again, Bio gonna get knocked back up. Cody still firing shots in, and Stixay from the early trade, kind of struggling to get some footing here as 100 Thieves duo hits level 3.
Yep, they're going to keep the pressure, have it shoved in, and that does make it a bit more risky because Reignover's trying to trade blue quadrants right now, and 100 Thieves bottom does have the advantage, but they're not leaving lane. They're still applying pressure at the turret and trying to make Stixay miss a few more minions. Now Reignover actually has very good gank positioning. Let's take a look at how this one plays out.
Looking for something here. Everyone with the thumbs up, but the exhaust already down. Flash forward, flash by Cody. Reignover flashing straight in. The knocker from Afro might be enough to save it. Dances back away to the Lucian. But again, the axe through two. They might look for a dive, but they just can't quite get there.
Yeah, without that Q landing and without them being able to stack up the Braum passive, a flash axe there from Olaf is not going to provide a lot of value. The main thing there from the slow would have been if Reignover had been able to do that first to guarantee Biofrost being able to stack up the Braum passive and you know, hit his Q as well. But because of that miss, there's going to be no kill still. And Counter Logic Gaming slowly climbing up a little bit up in the gold because of the CS discrepancy here.
Yep, 3 summoners for 2 though, so not a bad trade for 100 Thieves. You do get out of the situation. Back here in mid, Huhi just kind of farming away. Seen a lot of Lulu recently, and of course, traditionally, she's seen playing a lot of different solo lanes, but not expecting too much action. It's back in top side someday, just doing cinch things.
Yep, trying to get control of the minion wave here, putting the poison right through the entire thing. And even though he takes a decent amount of damage while he's doing it, Darshan is going to have to back off and clean them up at the turret, allowing Someday to move in here and try and get some vision. Whenever you're a top laner, and you have the shove, you want to move into the jungle to throw down some deep wards, get a little bit of vision on either of those camps for your jungler, really helps them out, as well as you can see blowing any of the plants that are there to try and get that control and show you a little bit more information.
Looks like Meteos also might be back towards the top side of the map. Huhi also roaming pretty early, not 6 just yet, but Meteos here. Ready with Red Smite. Might run into Huhi early. Huhi trying to play it safe, but Darshan already a little too far forward. Gonna get flipped back by Someday. Meteos there looking for the stun, but a great flash from Darshan's gonna dodge it. Here's Reignover, finds the Chilling Smite. The stun does not hit from Syndra though. Yeah, that was a really good attempt at the prediction there from Huhi though. He tries to shoot his Syndra stun over the wall where Meteos would flash to, but it was a little bit out of range. And again, very close miss here from us finding a first blood in this game. Everybody getting out alive, although summoners are becoming very scarce here as a lot of the flashes have been blown in these confrontations. Yeah, some extra gold on the table though. If you can find the first kills, Meteos makes it 3 Scuttle Crabs to 0, I believe. Again, continuing to smartly farm here on the Camille jungle. Reignover hanging out, maybe looking for Someday. He's going to find him here. First axe goes, and Someday's like, yeah, I'm out of there. Pops the blast cone and walks away. Well, Someday really controlling a lot of the plants here inside the jungle and is able to get the honey fruit as well to heal back up. But because Meteos has been able to control these scuttles so well, you can look at the experience advantage that he has, which is crazy to think about. If you thought about a last patch and you're like, there's a jungle Camille ahead in experience over a jungle Olaf, who's one of the best at clearing these, it would be just insane. Something crazy would have had to happen. But Meteos right now looking to continue this invade. He's got support from Afro and Ryu moving over. It's a point blank stun, but Darshan here ready with the ultimate. Meteos might have gone a little too far forward, and there it is. First blood over to CLG. Darshan makes his way down. The level 6 on Ornn came in already, and the ultimate with such long range, they're able to pick it up, even though Afromu and Ryu were headed over on the roam. The distance was just not there for them to be able to close. And despite the numbers advantage there for 100 Thieves invading for this, they are unable to find any sort of success here. Reignover kites out the shield too, by the way. You can see there, one of the big things with Camille's dueling, she get that burst of power where as soon as you get some damage of one of those damage types, the armor shield came up, but Reignover just kited it out on Olaf and turned back around when Darshan's ult came in. And it looked like a very easy first blood for CLG, even though they actually have been working very hard here in this early game to ward off what 100 Thieves are trying to accomplish. Helps him in the experience deficit as well, as he's caught well up to level 5 and may hit 6 first. and that Meteos did give some over, and of course it's off the map for a couple seconds, but we'll see. It's going to be close, and certainly CLG kind of needed that to right the early jungle shift.
Yeah, they definitely did need that. It actually doesn't change much of 100 Thieves' game plan, though. They still want to have Singe applying pressure on the top side, getting the map kind of spread out here, and allowing Meteos on this Camille to really take advantage of the mobility, running up and down the river, controlling these scuttle crabs, and applying that gank threat. It's one of the biggest things about this jungle Camille pick is how much pressure it puts on the enemy laners and how they always have to worry if they don't have vision. Camille engage range is basically your entire lane. She comes out of Fog of War, can jump very far over one of those walls. As long as it's towards a champion, you will get extra range on your hook shot. And now that the ultimate is there, you can lock someone in place.
Firefroster getting aggressive, trying to tap the last bit of the passive onto Cody's son, but can't find it. Instead, he dings 6, calls the wave. And everyone's just going to relax for a little while longer. Blue buff, though, is going to be stolen away. Ooh, he did not get it. Yep. Meteor's going to do the same.
It's smart here from CLG, though. They know they're not going to be able to stop this Singed push here on the Ornn, continually shoving up the lane and then going for invades with Meteos. So they just trade, again, quadrants of the jungle. They go invade on the opposite side of the map, get ran over a blue buff there. And even though, yeah, maybe he would have liked it, it's also very good on Olaf and junglers right now.
You get the next one. You get the next one.
Happy
it's
with
okay.
it.
They always tell me that in solo queue, and I just never seem to get one.
I never give the first 2, just so that if I give the third one, then my mid laner will always be like, oh, thank you so much.
I see. It's conditioning. As Meteor sitting in the top side. It looks like he'll hit recall. Darshan playing with a lot of respect, given the pressure the 100 Thieves are showing to that side of the map. But again, that means right side invade time for CLG. Might even be a dive here onto Ryu. Yep, gonna have to run away. Whimsy's himself for the speed, but Tower gonna take some damage here. Still pretty evasive there as that gank attempt comes through.
Yeah, that was a pretty big timing for Counter Logic game. The jungler there, Meteos had recalled. Cody's son and Aframu from the bottom lane had both recalled as well. So there are 3 members from 100 Thieves in the fountain basing. And CLG were thinking about trying to take advantage, but they don't want to overstep their bounds, and they call off the play, not risking a tower dive gone wrong with some very imperfect information. You can see they don't have very many deep boards to work with.
It's like CLG's dual lane will stay in the lane, find the control ward and hit that down. Cody working on Blade of the Ruined King first. Like you said, did receive some buffs as well, so that's something that makes Lucian a lot stronger.
It's literally just 200 gold cheaper. It's
That's
great.
a good buff.
It's a super good buff. You know, gold efficiency buffs are my favorite types. It just means you get to have the combine way earlier, which is one of the big pain points with the item before. The combine cost was a little bit high, but now only 700. And there are 4 members fainting a little bit of a convergence here onto the bottom side. But again, it looks like both these teams, after their losses yesterday, a little bit wary to overextend.
2v2 brewing perhaps here in the mid lane. Ult just out from Huhi. Again, phase rush procs, but can't quite get back in range for another stun.
Yeah. Phase rush on Syndra is actually really interesting because positioning is so important on the champion. Just using your ability like that and trying to get out enough to proc it will allow you to reposition to land a stun from a different angle. And that's what he was looking for after the ultimate, but there was no follow-up, and now it gives 100 Thieves a chance here to roam up to the Ocean Drake to try and claim the first dragon.
Yeah, looks like Darshan did try and come mid, but Someday pushed away back. Now he's down here, and all that space means 100 Thieves will claim that first objective.
Yeah, you can see Someday has been very mobile. Bottom side, though.
Oh, Afro again finds the combo. Meteor is going to get the stun back in onto Bifrost, and he's going to fall as a result. A TP in from Darshan, but it is cancelled.
Such quick engage there from 100 Thieves. And again, Aframu, the support star here of the team. One of the first guys they recruited to it on the Rakan, the hard engaged champion. Being able to call it here. They immediately turn, they find their kill, and now they've got 3 versus 2 on the bottom turret.
Yeah, Renova's here, but this isn't that safe. I think CLG recognizing this are going to move themselves away from the turret, but first turret gold is on the table. CLG claims first blood. 100 Thieves with the first Drake and looking to make it a structure on top, but wave not quite big enough. This will move here for our Acer Predator replay.
It's one of those things where you hear the dragon roar and you're like, oh, let's go check it out. Oh, wait a second, I changed my mind. We don't want to find what's actually waiting for us there. But again, Camille and Rakan, two of the most mobile champions, hard engage right there from two of the veterans on the squad. They pull it off, and it was actually just in time. This bottom turret for 100 Thieves has been taking a beating because Stixay and Bilefrost laning has been very strong here with the Ezreal Braum. They've actually gotten a lot of tower damage down. Remember that first turret bonus gold is still available, and that's a very big objective in itself. So teleport already being used here from Stixay to get back out onto the bottom side and not lose any of the tempo.
Dashan, the Hero versus Someday, a big whack, but Someday pops the ulti and is going to fling him back into the minion wave. Dashan still trying to fight it out of the way. Ulti's ready, he's going to burn it. Someday with the flash. Gonna have to try and get out of there, but oh no! The sticky adhesive. Dashan can't proc the ulti.
That's what we were talking about in Champ Select. As soon as you see the Ornn come through, the counter pick Singe, just mega adhesive on him. Because the reactivation of your Ornn ultimate is a headbutt and a small dash, you're not allowed to use it on the mega adhesive, so you only get hit with the slow, and that's why Someday was not concerned with that Ornn ultimate coming through. Bottom side, though, Cody Sun might be a little bit more concerned.
Yeah, turret nice and low, but might get a prize to begin with. 16 moves forward, they're going to jump in onto Cody. Duke land the stun after the Braum passive, and Huhi. An easy pick up there after burning the ulti.
Yep, good job keeping focus on that objective we talked about for Counter Logic Gaming. The bottom turret very low. They want to topple it. They want to get the first turret gold. Influx here to really just skyrocket ahead in this game. They've had a very good early game, and with this extra bonus, that is going to be a lot of gold that has been in exchange for just the Ocean Drake there for 100 Thieves.
Yep, realize they have enough time as well, so they leave the solo gold to Stixay, who gets 650 extra, and also the blue buff to get stolen again. Somebody, though, does look to equalize here, so a swap is coming from CLG, and it may just be in time to save this turret.
Yeah, that would be very big. The longer you can hold off the outer turret gold going over to the enemy team really puts them off their first item completion. Aphromoo and Meteos should be able to finish up this Rift Herald, though, and that basically guarantees that you're going to be able to knock over one of the outer turrets. You know, top lane's already low enough that even just getting off the one charge would get it. But one of my favorite changes that hasn't gotten as much airtime in the recent history has been the change to Rift Herald, where, you know, if you protect it and the enemy team is unable to defend against it, get a hit on the eyeball, it does tremendous damage, and we'll see teams take multiple turrets now sometimes with it if left undefended. Here's another look at the dive, though. Yeah, Cody Sun was up at the turret, and there were 4 members of CLG already in place running down to the bottom side, able to capitalize on that one. And we'll have to keep track of Meteos with that Rift Herald activation, because wherever he is on the map, a Rift Herald basically forces your opponents to respect your push. You cannot go for a base race. You cannot go for objective trading. Aphromoo goes in.
Engages on the Bio, who pops the stopwatch. TP coming in, it's Dashan, activates on ult. Ryu flashes early, but not quite going to get clipped. 100 Thieves again, rally back, might be able to counter-engage. After Afro kicked it all off, stun lands, hits Someday, but he's got the ulti popping, going to keep running forward, tries to glue Stixay into the ground, but CLG going to back up towards mid lane out.
They activate it. Everyone from CLG is alive, but this charge should do enough damage to finish off the turret anyways here for 100 Thieves and get them another outer turret.
Yep, there's turret, 2-1 now. And again, they're going to have to take down the Herald and waste a bit of extra time. No extra charge, they do kill it in time. Oh, never mind, actually. Did a pretty significant chunk of damage with about 50 health.
All right, 100 Thieves still on the map, though. They haven't fully reset after this. They're sticking around with some Fog of War play here, fishing for another kill. It doesn't happen. They don't go a little bit further into the brush. If they had all waited on that control ward, you know, they would have been able to get Stixay there, maybe his flash at least on the pass, but they are going to be able to reset afterwards. Cody Sun shoving up the last minion wave.
Yeah, Infernal Drake on the way in 50 seconds, so teams just trying to reset and get their items bought. Blade is already done for Cody. Benefit of it being a little bit cheaper. Trinity Force not quite there yet for Stixay, although he does have the Manamune charging up.
Yeah, those completions are so important. Remember, the whole point of gold is to buy items with them. Even though we have the scoreboard here, and we're like, oh yeah, 1,000 gold ahead, it is actually all about which items have been able to complete here and be already used on the Rift. Ready for Infernal Drake. That being said, Vision also setting up the play here. Aphromoo doing his best here to clear it out from Counter Logic Gaming. And 100 Thieves are ready. Someday's heading down mid lane here on the Singe. Still going to take another 20 seconds to get there.
Yeah, the fight certainly is brewing though, but team should be ready in short order. Bifrost finds a knock up onto Ryu. Unstoppable now in the back, as that's going to force a stopwatch from Ryu. Aphromoo dancing into the backline, charming them up, and the knock up does land in. Huhi able to take down Aphro, now looking to continue chase in onto Ryu. His ulti already burnt, he's got no flash. The Axe does tag in the slows, looking for it. The stun lands from Huhi, and Rainover grabs another kill.
Great job from COG jumping on that opportunity though. At 20 seconds means everything, as Someday was still walking down the mid lane there. He's the front man, he is the tank, and Huhi is able to find the stun onto Ryu, forces the stopwatch. Even though it immunes and buys a few seconds there, he's unable to get out of that dangerous position, and Counter Logic Gaming were able to take control of that Inferno. Here's another look at it. 4 members of 100 Thieves in the river. Someday's headed down, but they're able to get Biofrost, just the tip of that Braum ultimate tags Ryu and actually sets it all up. So Bio with the credit there for the first ability tagging. Then Rainover's able to follow it through. Axe lands on Ryu. And there's nothing left for him to try and get out of that one.
You kind of mentioned it in Champ Select, but kind of choose your favorite CC at this point on the CLG side. One of them's going to hit, and as soon as one connects, the rest are very easy to follow. So CLG 4-1 up in kills, 1,500 gold ahead. Haven't quite grabbed another turret just yet. Couldn't get enough traction onto mid to take it down, but still feeling healthy. And now Stixay going to return back. It's actually his TP, yep, back in the mid lane. And ready with the Trinity Force now to really start moving things forward on the Ezreal.
Yeah, level 11, double item power spike. This is the golden age for Ezreal right now. 19 minutes into the game. Wow, Ornn ultimate on bottom side, actually. Okay, that's just a minion wave clear. Not going for any of the solo kills this time around. Darshan got his one yesterday, but Cody's son is going to be able to finish off this turret anyway.
You know, sometimes games will get a little slower like this, or teams are playing more carefully. You just want to do some bowling and have some fun in between rotations, between objectives. Baron up in 20 seconds. Tower's going to fall here to CLG, and again, they look to even up the total objectives on the map, and then we'll make it 2 turrets for 2.
All right, now remember, 100 Thieves, they're splitting this off. They're trying to finish off and trade this bottom turret. They still have a lot of options available to them.
Darshan also going to get maybe solo killed himself. Cody going to try and move in there. Already pop Blade of the Ruin King, but he's got quite a lot of damage. Going to keep following out, but doesn't quite have enough to dive Darshan.
Yeah, he doesn't have his Black Cleaver completed yet, so he wasn't unable to shred some of the armor there. And Counter Logic Gaming still pushing on top side. So another turret does go over. But again, 100 Thieves, they do have options, right? They have the Camille and the Rakan combo that is very good at picking people off if they're out of position. Now again, it is very squishy, and if you're not able to dodge a long-range Syndra stun, Braum ultimate, or Ornn ultimate, then Counter Logic Gaming could very easily pick one of them off as well. So that's why the fight over these wards, trying to find an area to pull one of those plays off from, is so important.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of back and forth as far as wards go. Both Biofrost and Aphromoo exceptionally good at leading vision control for their team, and Biofrost now going to get the wave pushing back in the right direction. Stixay going to get donated some gold, and CLG, despite the turrets being even, really just want to take down this last outer turret here in mid. It doesn't have too much health left on it, and it's going to open up so many more opportunities here in the mid game. Yeah,
Counter Logic Gaming kind of defined by the difference in top laners here, where Ornn wants to group 100%, and Sin trying to split push and keep you drawn out and separate from each other to allow the Camille and Rakan to pick someone off. You can see that CLG have done a pretty good job of not falling into that trap so far. That's why they do have this lead. Now 100 Thieves pushing up mid though, trying to regain some sort of control over the minion wave.
Darshan back up though again, looking for the long range ult if you can find it. Biofrost also fishing with the fissure, but no one juicy enough just yet.
And every time 100 Thieves back up and they do evade the 5-man attempt from CLG, it buys a little bit more time. Someday clears one more wave on bottom, so that's going to turn the tides of the pressure game and have the minions going in their favor. Now it's Someday's turn to come up and join the rest of the team. And CLG's turn to kind of see control mid.
Yep, Huhi's even top lane, pushing that back out. So CLG know that right now it's just time to defend as the siege started, but pretty quickly called off there by 100 Thieves. I imagine we're just kind of waiting for that next objective. Mountain Drake spawning in a minute 55 means that both teams will have something pretty obvious to fight around.
All right, 100 Thieves should probably just keep sending Someday to get one of those side lanes pushing. Ornn can't really do anything to him at this stage in the game. The Merc trades are already completed. He has the Leandries, so if any sort of chase goes on and people are standing in it, damage just continues to build up. and it becomes very difficult for them to answer. So that's why the main goal for them is to try and actually force on one of these squishy members. Huhi actually has a pretty good position, but not a lot of backup. They're on the way, though.
Yeah, actually looks like the rest of the squad's coming up. Dashan again, also in a good position. Rainovo just going to flash in there. Try and slow down Ryu with the smite, going to force an ult out. Here comes the TP, but the ult from Dashan. Going to line them all up. He gets a 3-man knock up at CLG. Wipes that team fight.
Oh, Counterlogic Gaming get their 5-man force on the top side. Expertly done there. The Predator from Rainover on Olaf. He gets the slows in. They're able to line them up for Darshan's bowling practice here on Ornn. And there was no Singe around to counter the ultimate. Someday also even teleported in there, so that was a very big swing in power, and Baron should probably be going over.
See, all the practice in the bot lane with him meaning wave did matter, Kobe, as Darshan lines it up, and CLG got 3 kills and a Baron to just break open this game. They were, 1,500 gold ahead before. Now they're about 5,000 gold and counting, looking to do even more damage with the buff.
And there's nothing to stop them grouping up now and forcing at a turret. It's so difficult. If you have the Baron empowered minions helping your siege out, all they have to do is stand around the turret, and they have the threat of so many long-range stuns. I think we probably said it like 3 times this game, but the Braum, the Syndra, and the Ornn can threaten these tower dives very, very effectively. And with Someday not having teleport, having used it before, there isn't even the split push kind of counter for 100 Thieves to fall back onto. They're trying their best right now to push out some of the minion waves, but definitely going to have their work cut out for them dealing with this Baron-empowered push from CLG.
Yeah, and 6A has just benefited so much from the gold that's come out. They'll grab the Mountain Drake on the way through to make this Baron push that much stronger, but let's just take a look at this again.
Now, Predator there from Rainover, very, very speedy, able to get in, flashes on to Ryu early, be able to land the slows, and there's nowhere for the rest of 100 Thieves to go. They all get just absolutely destroyed there by the Counterlogic Gaming collapse, and now the same is in store for this turret.
Yep, Siege has started. 3 items, 6A, going to power up his teammates with the Essence Flux. Should make turret taking pretty trivial. We'll see just how much 100 Thieves can defend from the CLG assault. 1 turret down, make it 5-3 now, and looks like they're just going to run it straight down bot lane to look to take an inhib as fast as possible. Darshan again with the ulti, looking to zone them out. A great W there from Someday. Going to stop that.
I like the minigame on the bottom, too, between the Syndra and the Rakan. Talk about Huhi trying to land the stun onto Afro, where Afro on the Rakan is just trying to dodge and find his way in to burst down the squishy, but 100 Thieves are unable to get that outplay. They're unable to get anything back here or try and defend that push we talked about, and CLG have pretty easy time just walking in, taking the inhibitor down, pulling off a reset.
Yeah, have a little bit of Baron left, so we'll see where they go next, but decide that the best thing to do is force straight down a lane and make sure they get an inhib off the Baron. Now going to recall, spend another big helping of money.
Yeah, they actually have a decent amount of time left on Baron too, to try and get another push in with the duration.
Unsurprisingly, CLG looking to maximize their map time. In fact, Sticks ATP top lane to get that pushing just a little bit faster. Working on item number 4 in record time here, it feels like, on the Ezreal. Needs that second transformation, but still dishing out so much damage right now.
Yeah, and they already have their sights set. Darshan goes for the flash.
Yep, gets a flash. Oh no, actually just gets a hookshot out of Meteor, so no engage found, but again, just kind of throwing out CC into the void, seeing if it sticks. Someday popped his ulti as well. Not all that tanky as Darshan again looking to line things up. Finds Ryu, but Afro going straight back in, but still the dive straight into the backline as Meteor's trying to find something on the other side. Rainover got a little too low as Bifrost looking forward under Meteor's flash auto, finds the stun with the concussive blows. That's going to be a kill for the Braum, and well deserved it was.
Cody!
Darshan still alive. Cody also flirting with death as Stixay barely alive after that.
Pretty close fight there, considering 100 Thieves don't have too much of a front line besides Someday charging in on Singe. And in the end, though, CLG are able to finish it off. They don't lose either of their carries, even though Stixay and Huhi do get low, should be able to finish off this push.
Yep, Darshan goes back, TP's in to secure his next inhibitor. There are so many minions pushing. They even take an Nexus turret there on the right. Mid inhib will fall as well, and top is very unhealthy looking with a wave stacking up. CLG, though, do not overstep their bounds. They'll just let 100 Thieves clear that up and go back and spend more gold. They're 10,000 gold ahead. Looking to seal this one up real quick.
Yep, 9-1 in kills. They've got an Inferno and a Mountain Strike. Two of the best for ending out the game. But again, they go straight for the Lulu. They know that Ryu has no flash available, so they guarantee that stun. But because of the big chunk there, onto Ryu, onto Huhi in the backside, there was a lot of threat. Cody Sun flashing there, almost was able to get Stixxay. Would have needed one more Relentless Pursuit or something to try and get back there to finish off the auto. Because they're unable to do that, there's no turn in the team fight. And that means that CLG have a very clear game plan. Bottom inhibitor is dead, mid is dead. There's only one here left for them to run down.
Yep, no big objectives to take off the map either. Infernal Drake coming up if they even need it. And of course, Baron's still a few minutes until that respawn. CLG doing the straightforward and simple thing, which is how they've been able to close out so many games in their organization's history.
I mean, this is what we've seen for all of last split, right? We have Ornn top, we have an Olaf in the jungle, regular bottom lane for them, and the standard sort of picks from last season paying off very big here. As you can see, it's second nature for them to finish out the game. Once they get that lead, everyone's very comfortable in their position, and they're able to think entirely about how to actually finish the game, how to win their game, and the win conditions here.
I think maybe more importantly, throwing up against the spring finalists and not stumbling in the mid-game on the execution this time. Collapsing well, team fighting effectively, getting their objectives, and then once you're that far ahead, they certainly know how to snowball. Most teams have it locked up at this point as Afro barely lives. Lulu's Wild Growth going to give him some extra health to live through Kuhi's ult, but again, Nexus is the real prize here, and it's looking awfully unhealthy on the 100 Thieves side.
Yep, only one turret left, and it would have to be now if they go for the big fight.
All right, no turrets left now to defend 100 Thieves with a Nexus only to try and save. Meteor's looking to feint in, but again, flash forward there from Rainover. Who's going to shut that ult down? Meteor's pops the one, gets into the ult, but it's just carnage here. The ult there from the forward god finds two in the knockup as Meteor has already slain Stixxay. Someday dives in, but he's not tanky enough through all these carries, and CLG will give Mr. President his 400th game, ending in a win. Feels much better to play a career game and win than lose. And CLG, I think, a vast improvement today versus yesterday.
Definitely so. Really, really well played there. Even the early game, where it got kind of hectic and you could lose track of the Camille, of the Rakan, and the surprising engages that 100 Thief could come out with. But Rainover on the Olaf, able to constantly trade quadrants of the jungle, and the team was able to evade any sort of those big plays, not having to worry too much, even though the Singed and the Camille were pretty threatening early on.
Yeah, again, I mean, as has kind of always been the case for the team, I feel like a lot of that teamwork and coordination just really fell into place to stymie so much of that early game aggression. Darshan early roam down to turn the first blood over to Rainover's favor. Them just kind of steadily pushing their lanes, playing together as a team. These were all the things that in spring they did not have. They talked so often about wanting to find more coordination, is struggling all split long to get it together. Finally had a brief spark of hope right towards the end, and it feels like now it's maybe back to more of where it was.
Yeah, I mean, we had really good engages from Biofrost on the Braum. He was able to get the very important pick, one of the early ones in the river, onto Ryu himself, and the follow-up damage there, Huhi on Syndra, 6 kills coming through from him. Very good follow-up.
Biofrost does have the only death in CLG in that game, though. So losing a couple points, not too many, though. For more on that Counterlogic Gaming victory, Dash and Jet are standing by the telestrator.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Both winless teams coming into today. CLG, though, picking up the victory here over 100 Thieves, our second-place team from the spring split. We're going to roll through some highlights, just kind of recap this game, figure out how it fell the way it did. We did have traditional bot lanes. We got our first look at Lucian as well. However, not too much success for 100 Thieves.
And you're going to notice a trend here. It's Ryu running away on Lulu after ulting himself. CLG was always the ones finding the initiation, and that's partially by design. They have all those initiation tools that they kept alluding to in the cast. The Ornn ultimate, the Cinder follow-up, the Braum follow-up. It was very difficult to run away from. One of the best Ornn ultimates you were going to see. All of us just saw it coming on the analyst desk over here, and then
the closest fight of the game, arguably.
Yeah, and it's actually because they almost over-focused Ryu right here, and Someday and Meteos actually got into the back of the fight a little bit, but you can see Biofrost even on the side of the fight. doing a great job preventing media.
This is where it could have turned right here if he gets those autos off on stick say.
So close.
Not quite, so it does fall in favor of CLG. I like the point you're making, though, about Ryu and the kind of trend from fight to fight to fight, that it was either a misposition or just an inability to stop the number of engage tools that were drafted by CLG. So regardless of positioning, there was still a vulnerable target at all moments on 100 Thieves' side.
Yeah, and looking at the post-game breakdown right here, you can just see the damage looks much more traditional because the team compositions also look much more traditional. This is the second day in a row that CLG has run Ezreal. 100 Thieves lost to Zaya yesterday, so I was expecting them to probably go back to something more marksman focused for Cody's son. They did. The lane phase went okay, but the rest of their team composition to me was very high execution complexity, whereas CLG had a much more straightforward composition, which is what they succeeded a lot with at the end of last.
To me, if looking at these compositions, I like to believe that if 100 Thieves was choosing the initiations, that's where we would have seen their team shine the most. If the Singed and the Camille are starting the fight, maybe picking out the Syndra as a focus target, Ryu is not left to ult himself, shield himself, and is instead given the possibility of enabling Illusion to start running through the fight and really take over the mid game like we would expect him to do on that pick.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But what ended up happening is CLG had the priority. Getting the early kill on Meteos in the jungle was really huge for Reignover to get it back.
While Meteos had a level advantage.
Absolutely, and it's because they collapsed on him very well. Darshan with the 7.3k damage doesn't really tell the whole story. Damage stars definitely lie to you. It's the Ornn ultimates so often that really either ended the fight or started it in a really positive way.
All right, that brings us to the conclusion of that game with the victory for CLG. Jat's dad actually evens up the predictions race of the fathers, tying with Avli at 2-1. We'll continue to track throughout the day. Enough from us, though. Time to hear from Avli and NALCS Player Association President Darshan.
Thanks, guys. Darshan, congratulations on your win. We just heard Jat looking at the damage charts and talking about some of your Ornn ults. Why do you think that game went so well for you guys?
I think that game was just a representation of us, just like playing as a team, and I think showing how much we improved. I think that we got a lot better, and our TSM game was really unfortunate because we were actually playing really well in the early and mid game, and we just ended up throwing pretty hard. And I think that everyone, like all the players on our team and the coaching staff, should be proud of how much we've improved.
And this is actually your 400th competitive game. So how big of an accomplishment is that for you?
It's awesome. You just mentioned it's my 400th game, right?
400.
It's crazy because I didn't even realize that I mean, 400 games is a lot. I know I've been playing in LCS since it started, and I think a lot of people don't realize that I've been playing since season 2, and I still haven't reached my goal to, win Worlds. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm just so blessed and grateful that I can keep playing.
You are also the first one to reach that number, so technically you're still far ahead from everyone else. But I also want to wish you a congratulations on becoming the newly elected president of the NALCS Players Association, Mr. President. What can you tell me about your responsibilities and how you're juggling the duties as well as LCS?
So I just recently got elected for the position, and I haven't had too many responsibilities yet. We're having our first meeting next week, actually. So once that gets hashed out, I'll know exactly what I'm supposed to do. But basically, I wanted to make the Players Association something that all the players could feel like they want to be a part of, and it could help all of us help each other out, work together, and kind of there's not really that unbiased party for the players. And I think it was great that we're able to have the Players Association so that the players always have something to turn to help them out.
How did the elections kind of run? Did people nominate and then everyone voted for you, or what happened?
Yeah, so basically it was a nomination process that happened in a meeting about 2 weeks ago, I think. And that's when I decided, hey, I want this Players Association to be something that is more serious and more important to everyone, and I want to be a part of that change and make it happen. So I decided to run, and people gave speeches, gave an okay speech, and luckily I was able to get the position, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, coming back to the game, this weekend we've seen a lot of interesting meta picks, champions, and role swaps. Have you felt any changes up in the top lane?
I feel like there's a lot of different ways you can go with top lane. You can play the tanks like Mundo or Ornn. You can play the carries like Aatrox. And so I feel like there's still a lot of diversity. There's a lot of madness going on, though, with the Master Yi Taric stuff. So top lane can, some games have crazy impact and some games have not so much impact. I think it's just understanding every single game, what is your role, what is the best thing for you to do to help the team win, and not so much worrying like I have to carry every game, I have to like win my lane and stuff like that. So I think it's just really important to be able to adapt as a top laner.
Are you enjoying the meta right now?
I think I like change because I've been playing for so long. We'll see as it progresses how I like it, more so or not, but so far so good.
And then just really quick, last split was a little bit of a disappointing spring for CLG fans. What can fans hope from the team for this summer?
I think nobody is more disappointed than the players ourselves because we've all been players that have won championships before and been to Worlds. So we know how important it is for us to perform this split, and we're just working our asses off to just win the split, go to Worlds, and hopefully do well.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in that. Congratulations again on your win. And for everyone else, we're going to be taking a quick breather, but when we return, it's a rematch of the 3rd place match from Miami, Clutch Gaming versus Echo Fox.
Even though we lost yesterday, I still think that we're like the best team, if not one of the best teams, especially if we just keep going the way we're going. And so I'm just confident that if we take what we learned yesterday, we can win today.
It's a point-blank start, but Darshan here ready with the ultimate. Meteors might have gone a little too far forward, and there it is. First blood over to CLG.
I'm gonna flame again. Just get the dragon. Good job, guys.
Here comes the TP with the ult from Darshan. Gonna line them all up. He gets a 3-man knock-up at CLG. Wipe that team fight. Meteors pops the one, gets into the ult, but it's just carnage here. The ult there from the Ford God finds 2 in the knock-up as Meteors has already slain Stixay. Someday dives in, but he's not tanky enough through all these carries, and CLG will give Mr. President his 400th game, ending in a win.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. Since we know the importance of lending a hand, we want to highlight players and plays that help the team bring home the big W. If you have a favorite assist from this week that you want us to highlight, tweet the clip with the hashtag NALCS and the hashtag State Farm Assist, and we may feature it in a future episode. So get out there and bring some support.